So this is becoming a regular post-cable news tradition. My name is Baratunde, and I'm responding to myself being on John King's America, Twitter at John King USA. I was on Friday talking about the new jobs report and the status of the economy and what the community over at Jack and Jill Politics have been saying about it. So you can check that video out. It's linked in the more info section description of this video if you're not already on a site where that video is posted. I am kind of on the go. This is JFK Airport behind me, and I wasn't able to get to this sooner. But as usual, there wasn't still not enough time to get across all the points that I had wanted to. So this is sort of the extended remix of my own appearance. I will say it was a good experience. They didn't put me in some blogger Brady Bunch kind of talking head fiasco where you're fighting people who you can't see. So that was a vast improvement. I think the overall point I was going for was, I like to put economy in quotes in the U.S. because we don't really make much anymore, and the financial system is a lot of abstractions on top of derivatives, on top of concepts, and maybe somewhere down the line, like a chicken got its head cut off, but probably not. And in light of these modest improvements in the job situation, you also had these numbers coming out about massive compensation at the very high end, billions and $1 million bonuses and hedge fund executives, etc. And so I saw a bit of a double standard in some of the outrage that's been going on. Whenever you hear people from the right especially complain about government handouts, they're usually talking about, loan extension programs for students, mortgage relief programs for homeowners on the edge, healthcare extension for people, welfare extension, etc. And the level of scrutiny that they apply, the level of fear that they have about so-called moral hazard, that is, you're going to encourage people to not work by rewarding them with some kind of government program for not doing what they're supposed to responsibly be doing, is never really set at the highest end of the income spectrum. And so there's this sense of unfairness and bitterness that is just not rationally or reasonably applied where it should be if you really believe these things. And so if you look at the upper end, what you have are people not necessarily making anything, not necessarily doing much of value, creating a really volatile economy, and because of the way legislation is written and because of the influence of lobbying, they're able to kind of get their way. And so people who really need help, and there are many more of them, don't get it, and they get blamed, and they get sort of set up as these scapegoats in our society of irresponsible people. But you have a sort of guaranteed bank bailout and upper income bailout mentality. And on top of that, when you look at what it really costs to live in this country, the more money you make, like the less money you actually have to spend. People give you free stuff. The government gives you more and more tax credits. And over the past 20 to 30 years, we've undone a lot of our progressive tax policy and really, shifted the burden of taxation toward lower income people. And that's rarely, if ever, talked about. So I wanted to get those points out. The International Monetary Fund did a great study finding that, the financial firms that lobby the most, surprisingly, get what they want and also perform the worst, because essentially they engage in riskier behavior because they know the government's going to be there. And by the government, I mean me and you, because we, the people, make this thing happen, that we're going to be there to catch these people when they fall. Yet when we have debates about universal health care coverage or student loan extension or mortgage relief, there's this level of bitterness and self-righteousness and holier-than-thou perfection where we don't want to catch our fellow man or woman when they fall. But we'll catch Bear Stearns when they fall. We'll catch Bank of America when they fall. And so I wanted to heighten that contradiction in the discussion that we're having about the economy. And this is not a sort of, oh, rich people are bad, but this is our standard is inconsistent. And if we're honest about who pays what and what that marginal cost is for their life, then we have to start looking at some of the very unprogressive tax policy that we have, the regressive tax policy we have, and these guaranteed bailouts we have, which encourage risky behavior in an economy where no one really makes anything besides YouTube cat videos. This is my YouTube video. No cats, unless one ran behind me in the backdrop. I'm going to try to upload this before my flight takes off. I'm Baratunde, and this was me talking about the economy on CNN with John King. Thank you very much. Peace.